That's it, Charlie. Now go back to you.
Can't complain too much with that. John, thanks very much.
8:53 is the time. In Madison Square Gardens this week, rock royalty, including Bruce Springsteen, the Rolling Stones, John Bon Jovi, took to the stage to raise money for victims of Hurricane Sandy. But it was The Who's Roger Daltrey, more specifically, his undone shirt and what people are saying was a rather impressive torso that got people talking.
Well, age 68, he's avoided all the love handles, all the moobs that could plague older men. We're asking, though, how easy it is to stay trim as we grow older. In a second, we're going to meet personal trainer Rob Woollen and author Matt Haig. First, take a look at some well-known faces who've managed to keep themselves in good shape.
Girl, look at that body. Girl, look at that body. Girl, look at that body. I work out. Girl, look at that body. Girl, look at that body. Girl, look at that body. I work out. I'm sexy and I know it. I'm sexy and I know it.
Yes, we're just talking about it now, guys. The thing that all those big acts who are on the stage, you think Bruce Springsteen, Mick Jagger, Cliff Richard wasn't in that show, but, you know, you think of all those big names, the thing they have in common is they are all in very good shape.
Yeah, and they get a good workout during the act. You know, they're jumping and leaping around the stage. I'd imagine they burn quite a few calories doing that, and in fact, some rock stars have trainers to keep them in shape so they can bounce around on stage.
Yes, because there was a time when we think about rock stars in connection with excess.
And I suppose that was in an era where rock and roll was still quite new. And I suppose as these people are having very long careers and they're wanting to make money for a long time, and they realise it makes sense to do some exercise, I suppose, cynically.
Do you approve of seeing these men 68, 70-odd with bodies like this? Do you think it's necessary? Or is there this, just grow out gracefully? A little bit of flab, a little bit of moobage, we don't mind.
I think
Did
so.
you say moobage?
Moobage.
Moobage,
Okay.
yeah. So.
Checking.
I think so. But I mean, I can't talk. I'm a writer, and writers, you know, far less than rock stars, they have absolutely no exercise at all. So I have to exercise, or I would grow moss. So, and I think these people, you know, they're doing, you know, they're going on tours and stuff, so they need to keep fit. But it is, I've said it before, but it is sort of ironic that, you know, especially as it's the Who, you know, who were the ultimate excessive sort of band, that they're at it now as well, and obviously Mick Jagger.
There's a fine line between the issue of health, which is obviously that's a given, which is better for them, but that issue of vanity, which can be quite unattractive in extreme, it can be quite an unattractive trait, can't it?
I agree, and if people are wandering around with sort of gravy browning on them, showing off their muscles walking around the beach, yeah, that's not a good look. But why shouldn't people who are in the 60s be saying, actually, why grow up gracefully? Why not do stuff? I worked with it was a lady, she was 62 when she did her first ever run. When I first met her, she said, I don't want to run. And I said, fine, don't run, we don't need to run. And after a while, she said, can we just do a little bit of running? And then she ran a 5K at the age of 62. Why not?
Yeah, but she didn't do it to get a six-pack, did she?
No, she didn't. She didn't.
She did it to be a bit more healthy, which is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
No one has anything against that. It's just that to get bodies like that, you do have to push your body very hard at any age. And I just wonder if it's actually healthy at that age to push yourself that hard.
It's certainly not healthy, and people should be thinking, if they haven't done a lot for a while, suddenly turning around and the next day deciding you're going to do a 45-minute intensive workout is not the way forward. As we age, you know, we do lose a bit of flexibility. We need longer warm-ups. So we need to be careful as we age to go easily and gently into what we're doing.
And I would just want to, I don't know what your experience is, but men tend to be quite bad at doing things gently, don't they? They kind of want to win something or conquer something sort of immediately. Is that the mentality?
But I think as you get older, it starts to look a little bit more unattractive, that, you know, total sort of, certainly that rock star ego. I personally quite like old men to look old, you know, like the poet Auden, who had this sort of crinkly face like a 1,000-year-old map, you know, that sort of...
yeah, but to be fair, he didn't have to please hundreds of thousands of screaming fans, did he?
No, but I'm a fan of exercise, but I do quite like, you know, people to just cope with the fact that they're at a different stage in their life.
A funny thing, isn't it? Just when you were saying about wrinkles there, you think about the Rolling Stones, who are all in remarkably good shape in terms of physically, but famously, their faces tell an extraordinary tale, don't
Lived
they?
in, aren't they? Very lived in.
So they sort of have the both extremes in the one physique, as it were.
Yeah, and in one life, because they've had this sort of excessive life in their youth, and now they're doing 3 hours of Ashtanga yoga, or whatever they're doing.
Good to see you here this morning. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, guys. Coming up in the next half hour, Brazil's preparing for the World Cup, the Olympics and Paralympics. We're going to see how the country's coping with the challenges of staging 3 high-profile sporting events back-to-back.
Headlines coming up.